Welcome to the Functional Medicine Institute podcast. I'm your host, Amber Warren. Each week, we uncover the root causes of disease, dive into the latest breakthroughs in functional and integrative health, and talk with leading experts who are reshaping the future of medicine. If you're looking for practical, science-based strategies to help you live healthier, longer, and with more vitality, you're in the right place. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm here with Heather Lucas, infamous nurse practitioner here at the Functional Medicine Institute. And we're here to talk about peptides that support weight loss and overall metabolic health. So Heather Lucas is a functional medicine nurse practitioner with a deep passion for hormone optimization, sexual wellness, peptides, and metabolic health and longevity. She believes you deserve to feel your best, to show up for your family, your career, your friends, and yourself outside of work. Heather enjoys skiing, camping, and making cherished memories with her family. Thanks, friend. We're so glad to have you here. I know, and I feel like we can't overemphasize or talk about this topic enough because it's being talked about so much in our field and just in medicine in general. And I know you are so passionate about this topic, and you're just the perfect person to have on to discuss this. So thank you so much for doing this. So let's just start with understanding these different peptides, because there's really three distinct categories that we want to identify and make sure everybody understands before we take kind of a deep dive into this topic. So what are these hormones, and therefore mechanistically, what are these peptides and what do they do to the body?
Yeah, well, Amber, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
And I've been looking forward to our discussion on one of my favorite topics,
Yeah, I know.
peptides.
I knew it would be.
So yeah, to start out, these hormones, GLP-1, GIP, and Glucagon, are natural hormones that your body already makes. And they work together to help regulate hunger, blood sugar, and energy levels. Think of them as part of your body's internal metabolic messaging system. They're released mainly by the gut and the pancreas in response to food. And they help your brain, muscles, and liver decide what to do with the food that you just ate. So GLP-1 is your I'm full hormone. It tells your brain when you've had enough to eat. It slows your digestion down a little bit so that you feel satisfied longer, and it helps quiet food cravings. GIP supports this process by helping your body handle the nutrients efficiently after meals. And then glucagon is a hormone that is made by the pancreas that helps release stored fuel when the body needs it, such as between meals or overnight, when you're fasting, or during exercise, to make sure that your blood sugar doesn't drop too low. When your metabolism is working well, these hormones stabilize the blood sugar. They help with a steady energy production, and fat metabolism is more efficient. When they're not working well, which happens with aging, stress, poor sleep, or metabolic disease, people feel hungrier, more fatigued, and they struggle with their weight.
Well, and can I add in, I'm just thinking, like, as you were describing, and I love that you're breaking this down so we can fully understand these peptides and these medications and what they are, to understand what they do. But the first thing I thought of when you were talking about GLP-1s being your I'm full, I'm satisfied hormone, yes, you mentioned all the things that will throw those off, but how about just like these petroleum-based food dyes that are in our food, or this high fructose corn syrup, right?
Yeah, and how that suppresses our body's natural GLP-1 release.
Yes. And just how that's also just causing these shifts in this imbalance of the hormones in our gut. You know, we don't honestly understand enough that these are hormones in our gut. We talk about hormones, sex hormones and thyroid hormones, and cortisol is a stress hormone, but these are other hormones that are just as impactful in the body.
So many hormones in our body doing all kinds of important processes.
Yes, it's pretty wild. So maybe we can break this down. The therapies, these GLP-1, GIP, glucagon-based therapies, and maybe we should just name them so people can understand as they see medications, you know, on blog posts or in the news media, or as they're talking about it with their healthcare practitioners. So GLP-1 would be semaglutide, which is the original one that was first promoted for weight loss. The GIP, so GLP, GIP, so we call that a dual agonist, is tirzepatide. And then I know your favorite is what we call our triple agonist, the GLP, GIP, glucagon, which is retatrutide. So those are, we just want to kind of name those so everybody can kind of make sense of this dialogue and this conversation.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Awesome. So how are we using these medications for weight loss?
Well, in simple terms, your hormones are made of amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks to make proteins. Our bodies already have receptor sites for the different amino acids that are out there. So your body knows what to do with these hormones that your body creates, or if you're injecting a pharmaceutical medication or a peptide. Many of you have already heard the terms that Amber, that you just mentioned, the semaglutide, tirzepatide, retatrutide. And those are a specific sequence of these amino acids that send a very targeted message to your body to do more of what it already knows how to do. Injectable peptides are designed to strengthen or mimic your body's natural signals. These injectable peptides don't replace the hormones. They amplify and stabilize the signals that your body's already trying to send.
So you will benefit if you have strong signals and healthy cells, right? You can't just go make a fire with, one match and a stick and expect it to be good. You have to have the foundation set.
Right. And then, and we'll get to this a little bit further along in the conversation or the discussion, but, managing some of those other things that we were talking about, stress and sleep and exercise and gut health and all those other important foundational pieces. So these peptides, when you're using them as an injectable or outside source of the hormones, they amplify and stabilize the signals that your body is already trying to send, helping your body to feel more satisfied with less food, stabilize and regulate your blood sugar and insulin responses, and improve how calories are used. So perfectly, like you just mentioned, your natural hormones, if you think of it like this, your natural hormones are more of like a flickering light.
Right.
They're released in response to food intake. But what about during those times when you're fasting or maybe you're not eating as healthy and whole foods as you should be eating? These peptides, when used as a support therapy, are more of a steady on light. Right. So helping to maximize what your body's already capable of doing.
Great.
You mentioned the GLP-1 peptide. So the semaglutide, which is a weekly injection. This one really targets the hunger. So it helps with reducing the appetite. It helps to slow digestion. So you feel full longer and more sustainably. The next version that came out was the dual agonist, tirzepatide, GLP-1 and GIP. It's also a weekly injection that not only controls hunger and satiety, but it helps, the added GIP helps improve insulin sensitivity and metabolic efficiency. And then my favorite, this is the third version that's come out, and it's currently in phase 3 clinical trials, about to be FDA approved in 2026 or 2027, coming up really soon. And it's a triple agonist. So the glucagon in there provides the added benefit of increased energy use and fat burning. And that's the really important part, because a lot of people have, whether they know it or not, something called fatty liver disease, where we store excess sugar from excess carbohydrates. We store it in the liver, and the liver becomes congested with fat deposits.
Isn't the data that 60% of our population has either fatty liver or at least pre-fatty liver? We're talking more
large
than half
amount
of our population. So sorry, you keep going, because this is an important conversation to have.
And so with the glucagon, with that added benefit of energy use and fat burning, in the phase 2 clinical trials, it showed a 17 to 24% weight reduction with using the triple agonist as compared to the dual or single agonists. So still, even with that gradient from GLP-1 to dual agonist to triple agonist, it reflects a progressively larger average weight loss and broader positive metabolic effects overall, with adding that third one in there. Together, these peptides don't just reduce calories. It's not just appetite suppression only. They actually change how your body processes food. There's clinical studies that consistently show that these medications can lead to significant weight loss, improved blood sugar control, reduced insulin resistance, and that's a big term thrown around out there. I don't know if a lot of people understand entirely what that is, but it's how your body shifts and changes to constant glucose intake or excess carbohydrate intake. We become resistant. Our cells become resistant to the insulin that our pancreas releases to try to store that glucose where it should be in our muscles.
Yeah, insulin is our fat storage hormone. So if you've been struggling metabolically or struggling with stubborn weight loss and no one's checked a fasting insulin on you, or made sure that it's under 5, that you are insulin resistant. and you would really benefit from some of these therapies and just a full functional and integrative approach. So yes, thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
And then also with these peptides, we're seeing a lot of improvements in inflammation and cardiovascular risk markers as well.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible data, actually, what we're seeing
And
from cardiometabolic health.
Most importantly is that when people are using these peptides, we're seeing that weight loss, it tends to be more sustainable than with diet-only approaches.
Yeah.
Because appetite signals are being biologically supported rather than being suppressed by willpower alone.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
It's a short term, it's a tool. And we'll get into that a little bit more in our discussion.
Yeah, no, it can really be a very successful metabolic reset for patients if it's done in the right way with all the right tools. So that's actually a good segue into the next thing I wanted to bring up, topic I wanted to bring up, which is how in functional medicine, how do we support these hormones naturally, right? To give someone a good foundation, or if they're not yet a good candidate for these medications.
Right. Yeah. So the important thing to understand is that your body already knows how to make these hormones. Lifestyle and diet can either support that system or disrupt it. In functional medicine, we focus on working with the body's natural signaling, not forcing it. When nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, and gut health are aligned, these hormones function more efficiently, making appetite control, blood sugar balance, and energy metabolism feel more natural. Food is our strongest daily signal for GLP-1 and GIP release. So whether or not you decide to use peptides, you can support your body's metabolism following these key principles. This is without peptides. Think about protein first. Protein stimulates natural release of GLP-1 and helps you feel full longer. Aim for a gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Focus on fiber-rich foods, vegetables, legumes, seeds, nuts, and whole foods. That helps to slow digestion down and enhances satiety hormones.
And guess what? Those are now at the top of the food pyramid.
Yes, I love that. Thank you, RFK.
We now have, our administration backing what we're saying in functional medicine, and we couldn't be more excited.
Very excited about that. Avoiding ultra-processed foods, added sugar, liquid calories, those... hate to say it, those coffee stand coffees that are, 2/3 creamer and sweetener and all these artificial flavorings. Those are not doing you any favors as far as your weight loss goals and your healthy metabolic goals. These produce large glucose spikes that essentially blunt hormone signaling and bypass satiety signals. And satiety is your fullness hormone. When you're satiated or satisfied, that's satiety. Incorporate healthy fats that support hormone production and insulin sensitivity. So we're thinking fatty fish, avocados, sardines, olive oil, any of those types of good, healthy omega-3
Mediterranean diet.
Mediterranean diet.
Best level A evidence for cardiometabolic health. Don't forget that.
Yeah. So the bottom line with food is to eat in a way that tells your body that it feels nourished and not deprived. And the next key principle is exercise and movement. Movement improves how these hormones work in your body, not just how much of them that you make. So the best strategies here are to incorporate strength training 2 to 4 times per week to increase and preserve lean muscle mass. And that muscle is our storage bank for glucose. And so the more muscle we have, just the more insulin sensitivity we have and the better metabolic health we have. Walking after meals, even going for a short 15 to 20 minute walk after a meal, helps the way that your body controls glucose and your GLP-1 responses. Consistent movement too, even just light daily exercise, just getting out in nature and resetting the nervous system and allowing your body to just feel the sunshine, breathe the fresh air, all of those things can help in your overall strategy to improve these hormones.
Don't forget, I had this conversation a few times today with busy single moms, full-time working moms who, and I understand when they say I don't have time to exercise, and I want to make sure you guys don't underestimate because there's science that backs this exercise snacks. I'm even if I'm just like home with my kids, working, trying to get life done and realized I haven't gotten much movement, I'll go just run up and down my stairs for 2 minutes at a time, right? Or just do jumping jacks for 60 seconds, get your heart rate up. Those are called exercise snacks. And the data is actually really supportive that just doing a handful of those per day can really help improve cardiometabolic health. We are not asking you to go to a CrossFit gym for an hour every day, right? We understand that a lot of you are lacking in that time. So please, don't underestimate the importance of minimal amounts of movement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then avoiding the extremes with that. We don't want to go into excessive cardio or overtraining. That raises our stress hormones. That raises cortisol, and cortisol will not allow you to lose weight. If you are super stressed out and your cortisol's high, no matter what you do, you're not going to lose weight.
Yeah. And we can check that. We have good tests to look at cortisol levels in the body.
Yes. And movement. Yeah. Just to finish up movement, it should support your energy level, not deplete it.
Good.
The next key principles would be sleep, stress, and gut health. Poor sleep lowers GLP-1, natural GLP-1 production, and increases hunger hormones and cravings. So even after just one poor night's sleep, your appetite the whole next day is probably going to be a little dysregulated. You're going to start craving the carbohydrates. You're going to grab for a cookie or salty chips or something that is going to satisfy you more from an emotional standpoint rather than making conscious food choices. So sleep is really important. And then chronic stress, we already kind of hit on this a little bit, but stress eating is a hormone-driven response, not a lack of willpower.
Right.
So we want to focus on nervous system regulation. So deep breathing, meditation, spiritual practices, listening to music, getting out in nature, all of those things are helpful in lowering stress hormones. GLP-1 and GIP are produced in the gut. So a healthy gut microbiome improves hormone signaling. And digestive inflammation blunts satiety signals. So we want to support digestion and reduce gut inflammation. And we already kind of talked about that with dyes and artificial ingredients and preservatives and those kinds of things. That all raises gut inflammation. Functional medicine isn't about perfection. It's about creating the right environment for your body to do what it's designed to do.
Love that.
The peptides open the door, and lifestyle determines how far you go.
So good.
When people combine peptide support with nourishing food, strength building movement, rest, and stress regulation, they don't just lose weight. They really regain metabolic health and overall confidence.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. So, what are practical tips practical steps our listeners should take and can take to support these hormones and get them to function normally?
Yeah, great. So some practical lifestyle tweaks that support GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon hormones naturally. And keep in mind, this is where the real change happens. Right. Is eating in a way that stimulates the GLP-1 and GIP production. So protein first at meals, 20 to 30 grams minimum per meal. Include fiber-rich foods, so the vegetables, legumes, berries, nuts, and seeds. Eat slowly. GLP-1 is time release dependent. So if we're gobbling down a meal very quickly, we're not even allowing our body time to register the fact that we're eating. We're on to the next task.
So true.
So slowing down, avoiding those ultra processed foods that blunt gut hormone signaling. People can do 12 to 14 hour overnight fasts. Allow your body a break from intake and just let your body do what it needs to do. There's all kinds of other things your gut does besides just digest food. It's making hormones. It's making neurotransmitters. Our vagus nerve is attached to it. So we want to soothe that and allow it some rest time too. Avoiding late night snacking and eating your largest meal earlier in the day. These are all some natural ways to support your natural release of these hormones.
And make that meal rich in protein.
Right.
You've been fasting all night. Let's hit that hard and not cause your blood sugar to increase. You mentioned it earlier, but protein early in the day, it's really important.
Yeah. And it helps you stay full longer throughout the day.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the resistance training. Your muscle acts as glucose and hormone regulator. So the more of it that you have, the better regulated and the more hormones that you have in your body. Sleep is not optional. So aim for 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep every night. Keeping a consistent sleep and wake time. This includes even on the weekends. Maybe adjust it by a half an hour.
No more than 30
Let
minutes.
you sleep in. Yeah.
Still get up at dark.
Go to bed at dark, get up at dark.
One of my favorite rules for sleep, actually, I can't take credit for this. This is Gary Brucker's rule, Ultimate Human, if you haven't heard of him. But I tell my clients this: memorize 10, 3, 2, 1. 10 hours before bed, no caffeine. 3 hours, because caffeine can have a very long half-life in most people. 3 hours before bed, no food. Let your body get into that state where you're not focused on digestion. You're focused on resting and you're giving your body a break so it can heal. 2 hours before bed, nothing stressful, no work. Don't take that call from that sister-in-law that drives you crazy, or don't engage in a difficult conversation with your spouse. And then 1 hour before bed, no screens. I actually think what you're saying, 90 minutes is probably more appropriate. But my hard stop with screens is an hour before bed.
Yeah.
And blue light blocking glasses, they're great because we all have times when we have to work or have to jump on a screen, especially those of us with young children, but they're just a crutch. They're not a safe hold. You will still have some of that blue light that will enter into your brain. So just be wary of
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. And then that blue light, the reason why that's so important is because that blue light disrupts your melatonin production.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if you're having a hard time falling asleep after you've finally put your phone down, it's maybe because your body really hasn't had time to make that melatonin yet, because that blue light is impeding with that signal.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's why to avoid the screens before bed. And then lastly, the ways to support your body naturally, calm the nervous system. So through breath work, meditation, walking outside, spiritual practices, reducing that chronic stress load is so important because cortisol blocks insulin and GLP-1 signaling. So that's why it's important there. And if you're looking at starting a weight loss journey, we have some questions that you could ask your healthcare provider, depending on who you're working with. Of course, we'll encourage you to come visit with us. And, functional medicine looks at all these other factors that we've mentioned, not just here's your peptide, go on your way and see how that works for you. But some questions that you can ask your provider is, can we check my fasting insulin, not just a glucose and A1C? Does my triglyceride to HDL ratio, what does that say about my insulin resistance level? Do my labs suggest inflammation or metabolic stress? Or could gut health or sleep be affecting my hormones? These are some great segues into conversations with your healthcare providers to really get to the root cause of what is causing you to retain excess weight or not allowing you to get good sleep or have good metabolic health. You can ask about muscle and body composition, asking, am I losing muscle when I try to lose weight? Or should we measure my body composition instead of just relying on the scale? And before considering GLP-1 medications, you could ask, can we try lifestyle strategies that improve GLP-1 naturally first? You could ask, if I ever use peptides, how do we protect my muscle and metabolism? And here in functional medicine, of course, we have those answers for you.
Yeah.
We work on this all day long. Functional medicine asks, why is my appetite dysregulated? Why is insulin signaling impaired? Why is my body resistant to fat loss? And we like to address those root cause contributors like gut microbiome health, micronutrient deficiencies, looking at vitamin D, magnesium, zinc, copper, all of those micronutrient levels as well. Inflammation, hormone balances, and then muscle loss with aging. We look at all of those things.
Yeah, I really hope this conversation, of course, I'm excited about the community and the patients that are hearing about this and hearing kind of some of the truth and the hardcore science behind it. But I hope healthcare practitioners as well tune in and listen to this and maybe have a little bit more open mind to these medications. You don't have to use the pharmaceutical higher doses of this, right? And if you don't have a nutritionist on your team, find one in your community that you can partner with and send those clients to make sure they're meeting these needs. It's start to educate yourself on the gut microbiome, and because there's really simple ways that you can support that with the right diet, some simple probiotics, recognize the signs and symptoms of leaky gut, or maybe even how to interpret a gut microbiome test. That can really work wonders for your clients. So I think this conversation is important again for all of us, patients and healthcare practitioners alike, to really know more about these kind of medications and not just listen to what a social media influencer might be saying on Instagram.
Yeah. I love peptides. I love using them as tools. I think of them exactly as that, as complementary tools used alongside diet and lifestyle, where people can make long-standing changes and improve their overall health and ultimately their quality of life.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was interesting just offline, just prior to this podcast, you and I were talking about Kara Fitzgerald, who's a pretty well-known figure in our space, released an article just in the last week talking about data that she presented that maybe if the peptide itself, based on dose or the patient, is disrupting the gut microbiome, maybe some of the potential benefits of it are actually outweighing those risks if it's disrupting the gut microbiome, because we know our gut microbiome is so important in hormonal regulation and cardiometabolic disease and inflammation, and even in the aging process. But it goes back to everything you just said. Well, of course it will, right? If you're causing peristalsis where your gut slows down and you're having constipation and your good gut bacteria aren't beneficial, then yeah, of course we're going to see issues with that. But that's where this approach, this type of lifestyle medicine, integrative approach is so important, because you want you want to improve the microbiome and take advantage of these gut hormones to improve metabolic health. So it's just, if anything, not that I think she was trying to discourage patients, but it's if anything, it makes our stance even stronger to say, well, yeah, of course you have to be careful with any medication or even supplement. You have to know what it could potentially do and know the appropriate dose and how to balance out those possible side effects.
Yeah. And the peptide isn't just a magic bullet or an excuse to eat junk.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's going to limit your appetite a little, or suppress your appetite a little bit. And it's going to improve the way your body responds to food. But that's not an excuse to just go, on a bender and go to Five Guys for lunch and, pizza for dinner and, with ice cream afterwards. We've got to incorporate the diet and lifestyle and make those the foundational tools, use these peptides as a tool along the way while we're developing the habits and consistent routines with our exercise and choosing healthy foods.
Yeah, that's so good. That's such a good summary of and way to state it. So thank you so much for your insights, for your wisdom. Thank you for your passion, because you have brought so much to our community. And I can just speak for myself as a practitioner, like I'm better and more apt to be able to do well in my practice because of what you've brought to us. So we just appreciate you so much. And if you're interested in learning more about the therapies we're offering or working with Heather, please check out her bio and check out all of our information we have on our website, funmedinstitute.com. And please subscribe to the Functional Medicine Institute podcast, which is available on your favorite streaming platform. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the Functional Medicine Institute podcast. At FMI, we're committed to helping you achieve your best health, whether that means staying well with regular check-ins, resolving chronic concerns, or taking a proactive approach to aging and long-term vitality. Through our integrated model of primary care, functional medicine, and regenerative specialty services, we provide a precise, root cause roadmap tailored to you. No matter your starting point, we'll help you move confidently toward optimal wellness. Discover what's possible at funmedinstitute.com.